Happened yesterday when Donald Trump was in Iowa at a family restaurant on a campaign swing through Iowa ahead of the midterm elections. And see what he does the first time he's asked a question, the most trenchant and important question that he was going to face yesterday, by Rachel Scott of ABC News.
Some of your own administration officials have labeled Alex.
By the way, this is ABC fake news, this one. She hasn't asked me a good question.
Look at that reaction. Not facts, not answers, just pure instinct. When Donald Trump gets cornered, he doesn't explain. He attacks. And that's not accidental. That's a strategy. Because when the truth gets too close, when the questions get too sharp, Trump does what he always does. He turns the room against the question instead of answering it. And today, that question is simple. Why did an unarmed man end up dead? And why is the president already blaming him for it?
In years, I think a nice woman, but I don't really like her too much. Go ahead, what'd you say?
So he whips the diners in that restaurant up against the reporter from ABC, Rachel Scott, a highly respected, serious-minded and fair-minded reporter within the White House press corps. He then goes to another reporter to try and avoid taking her question. She eventually gets another chance to ask it. Let's listen to that.
Do you agree with the assessment from some of your own officials that Alex Pretti is a domestic terrorist or an assassin?
Well, I haven't heard that, but certainly he shouldn't have been carrying a gun.
He hadn't heard that his own top officials had called Alex Pretti a domestic terrorist and, in the case of Stephen Miller, his deputy White House chief of staff, an assassin. And as you'll hear in this final clip of Donald Trump from yesterday, he immediately goes to the fact that Mr. Pretti was carrying a gun and appears to attach blame to Mr. Pretti for his own killing at the hands of the Border Patrol without exactly saying it.
We view that as a very unfortunate incident. Okay?
Notice what just happened there. Trump says he hasn't heard his own top officials calling Alex Pretti a terrorist. Really? Stephen Miller said it. J.D. Vance reposted it. The White House amplified it. But suddenly, the president's got selective amnesia. And right on cue, the blame shifts. Not to the agents, not to the orders they were given. Nope, it's the gun. It's always the gun. That's not confusion. That's deflection, live and unfiltered.
Everyone, unless you're a stupid person, very, very unfortunate incident. I don't like that he had a gun. I don't like that he had 2 fully loaded magazines. That's a lot of bad stuff. And despite that, I say that's a very unfortunate.
So the President of the United States, again, piling on the memory of Mr. Pretti. The National Rifle Association, the country's most powerful pro-gun lobby, has now put out a second statement about the killing of Mr. Pretti, saying the NRA unequivocally believes all law-abiding citizens have a right to keep and bear arms wherever they have a legal right to be. And that is indicative of mounting fury within Republicans about the way in which this is being handled by President Trump and his administration.
It's like a cornered rat, isn't it? And more dangerous, obviously, but he's just pushing to see where he might find an escape route here. Is it going to work if I blame it on the gun? I'm going to distance myself from Stephen Miller. I'm going to pretend, I'm going to lie that I don't know what Stephen Miller has said, because of course he knows what Stephen Miller has said. The truth disappeared, as we know. It's never really been in the room. But that which lie is going to serve me best? And if I can't get a lie to float, I'm going to put the country on a war footing like Francis Underwood in House of Cards, because that way I can distract from the thing that I'm using to distract from the thing that was originally done to distract from the Epstein files. It's hard to keep up, isn't it? Distraction
upon distraction upon distraction. Look, the real problem that they've got is that they've dipped Greg Bovino, the
has he
head
definitely
of the Border Patrol. They've literally... I believe they were pulling him out last night. Certainly there are reports that he is losing his official title of commander and is going to be sent back down to the southern border from where he emerged. This is the strutting, swaggering head of the Border Patrol who quite literally has styled himself. I mean, in terms of the clothing that he wears, these long trench coats, very much SS chic, as Mr. Bovino has strutted around the streets of Minneapolis and frankly terrorized residents there. They finally appear to have pulled him out and sent the immigration czar Tom Homan into Minneapolis in a bid to negotiate with state and local officials there. But the biggest problem they've got is that getting rid of Greg Bovino is not enough, because there are mounting calls from Republicans in the House of Representatives and the Senate for Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, to go. And Kristi Noem put a statement, is reported to have told friends, this was leaked to Axios, the website, last night, that, quote, "Everything I've done at the direction of the president and Stephen," as in Stephen Miller, the Deputy White House Chief of Staff and Donald Trump's de facto chief ideologue, who over the weekend called Mr. Pretti first a would-be assassin, then he dropped the would-be and called him an assassin in a social media post that the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, approvingly reposted on his own account. So if Donald Trump gets rid of Kristi Noem, and he says he won't, even though Republicans are calling in ever-increasing numbers for her to go, he runs the risk that she is then going to say, well, if I go, Stephen Miller has to go, and this thing could go, you know, this thing rapidly spins out of control as that circular firing squad is formed by senior figure Donald Trump's inner circle. And James, it's worth just remembering the license to kill that senior Trump officials have given to Border Patrol and ICE agents in Minneapolis. Stephen Miller today is saying that it looks as though the Border Patrol agents may not have been following proper protocol on Saturday. The White House provided clear guidance that the extra personnel that had been sent to Minnesota for force protection should be used for conducting fugitive operations to create a physical barrier between the arrest teams and the disruptors. But as he prepares to basically ditch any loyalty that he was expressing over the weekend to the agents who killed Mr. Pretti in Minneapolis on Saturday, let's remind ourselves of what Stephen Miller told ICE and Border Patrol personnel earlier this month after the killing of Renee Good. Let's hear Mr. Miller.
To all ICE officers, you have federal immunity in the conduct of your duties. And anybody who lays a hand on you or tries to stop you or tries to obstruct you is committing a felony. You have immunity to perform your duties, and no one, no city official, no state official, no illegal alien, no leftist agitator or domestic insurrectionist can prevent you from fulfilling your legal obligations and duties.
Nothing in there, James, about following proper protocols. Nothing in there about being unrestrained and making sure you do everything by the book. You've got full immunity. And that was the message that the Border Patrol agents and the ICE agents who are still on the streets of Minneapolis clearly received from the man who now seems to be...
This is the part they don't want you focusing on, because this didn't start with a shooting. It started with permission. Permission from the White House. Permission from Stephen Miller. Permission from an administration that told armed federal agents, you're untouchable. And when that ends exactly the way everyone warned it would, suddenly nobody remembers saying anything. Trump doesn't defend the agents. Not really. He doesn't defend the victim either. He just shrugs, calls it unfortunate, and quietly builds a narrative where the dead man is somehow responsible for his own death. That's the authoritarian playbook Simon Marks talked about. Deny, distract, deflect, blame the victim. And if that fails, create chaos until the truth gets buried. And look around. It's working. Republicans are turning on each other. The administration is leaking against itself. Officials are scrambling to rewrite history in real time. Because once you give the state a license to kill, you don't control where it stops. And now Trump is discovering the problem with lighting fires everywhere. Eventually, one of them burns back toward you. This isn't strength. This is panic. This is panic. And the louder the distractions get, the more obvious it becomes that someone, somewhere, knows exactly how bad this really is. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this accountability finally catching up? Or just another distraction cycle starting all over again?